Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, very warm welcome to each one of you. And let me have the privilege of welcoming all the viewers watching this program live on all our channels, our webinar, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If there are any questions relevant to the topic what you are going to be discussing, please do come. And today's topic, I thought a lot of people will be coming and attending, and takeaway will be fantastic for self-publication. It clearly indicates not many are interested in self-publication. Anyway, people at least watching online did it because it's a golden opportunity for you to understand how you can be a self-publishing. And listen to the gentleman today. You will get really inspired listening to the story. I got inspired when I met him for the first time when I went to make the MMA publication. Yes, very, very interesting story. And before that, let me tell you what's happening in MMA next. Some more people are enjoying the refreshments so that we don't miss them, miss any other portion of the MMA talk. Next event is happening on 23rd of July. That is tomorrow. Didn't grow. It's more we do it for the MBA students. The 5 life functions of a team, a leadership fable by Patrick, this author, and we have got the outstanding panel. Srinivasan Prasad and Venkatesh, who is MD of Popular Foundation, and Rishma Budhia, she is a co-founder and CEO of Toss and Coin Limited. Then on 25th of July, again we have a nice event. It's a series where mental well-being series, unleashing the inner potential, cultivating mental resilience for well-being. This time we are going to also check the intelligence test. It's all about your intelligence, how you are born with intelligence, not born, how you can develop. And we are also going to administer intelligence tests for all our people who are going to be present here by Buddhi Clinic. And Ennapadam Krishnamurthy, founder Buddhi Clinic, is there along with his team. Then on 27th July, again, a good event, not to be missed. Discussion on the theme of the book, Power Within, the Leadership Legacy of Narendra Modi. We've got a very good panel. Again, Dr. Balasubramanian, who's authored the book, is here with us. Dr. Preeta Reddy, Chairman of Apollo Hospitals, Kamakodi, who is Director of IIT Madras. Then Rajiv Lochan, who is the Managing Director of Sundaram. Then Vaidya Subramaniam is a Vice Chancellor, Tata Chair of Shastra University. It will be a nice event. We are going to be discussing all about leadership. And one particular area where we'll be taking is also our Honorable Prime Minister's style of leadership, how he's able to attract. See, I think it will be a quite interesting thing with a lot of anecdotes. Please come and join. It's happening on, as I mentioned to you, 27th of July. All these events are happening live at MMA. Then 10th of August, we have another event on Unconquered Arizona. It's all about leadership again. Some great leaders, we have got some outstanding panel here too. Captain Ramachandran is the founder of, chairman of Colors of Glory, and we got Nandita Krishna. She's historian, environmental author, founder of CPR Center. We also have the Air Marshal Matharishan, one of the finest fighter pilots, test pilot. He's going to be talking to us. He's also founder of Peninsula Foundation. Then Rear Admiral Dingra, who is in charge of the naval operations in Chennai, the entire southern states. So we are going to have a blend of armed forces with civil, along with historically how they are done and leadership traits. It's happening on 10th of August. 12th, again, we have another interesting topic, demographic dividend is a boon or bane. And again, we have a very good panel. Ramasundaram, IAS, retired, he writes regular articles you would have written about our population, what is happening. And one particular note, what I really liked about what he wrote is that today, if you want to really achieve the demographic dividend of India, and we must make more women folks to come into the employment opportunity. They should join. At the moment, India is only 31% of the women are in the employment, whereas other countries almost 46. That means having a huge population doesn't help you. We need everybody to bring on the mainstream. Like this, there's so many things we'll learn. Come and attend this event. It will be very, very interesting. We got Mr. Suresh Babu, Director of MIDS, is also a part of the lecture. Is happening. And 17th of August is again a very good high-profile event. It's only by invitation. Solving India's solid waste crisis. Lessons from Madurai. Madurai does some phenomenal work. And we have got outstanding speakers again. Lakshmi Narayanan, Chancellor of Kriya University. Prasad Modak is coming all the way from Pune to speak to us. He's again Managing Director of Environmental Centers. And we've got Nalini Shekhar, CEO of Asuru Dallas, and Anjali Bansal. You all know she is again Director of many number of companies, Tata Power, Nestle, and is also founding member of Avana Capital. Then we got William Rodrigue, number of startups. And there we also have Ashwini Magalingam, who will be leading the conversation. It's happening from 10 to 1:30, followed by lunch. If you're a startup, you are looking at an opportunity to do something in an area where you can recycle the product. We believe in circular economy. I think this is the event you must attend. It's only by invitation. You have to register yourself. If you're there, please connect with the MMA staff. They will do it to you. Then we have Read and Grow. We have also a number of events other lined up. Now, this month again, 27th of July, we have a talk, Power Up Positivity at the Institute of Foundryman, Ananaga. Sandhya Arun Kumar is going to be talking there. On Tuesday 30th, we are doing a talk on efficiency management. This is happening at Puducherry. Then we on 31st July, customer engagement, how you achieve success. Srinivas and Ram Prasad are going to be talking at Andhrachyam. This is what is happening. I thought I'll keep you. And coming to today's thing, very interesting event. Success story, how it was done. And we bring in the speaker to come and share the unique ideas, what he got, what made him, what are the pitfalls he faced, what are the safety nets put around. Because all the thing which I was really impressed when I met him first time, because it's a unique model. Otherwise, publishing a book means it's a nightmare. People think, you edit panna, cover panna. Here is one-stop shop for all your solution. They publish, they get edited, they get launched, they get IBN number. All this sitting at home for a small price also, you get your royalty regularly if your book gets sold. So it's a quite interesting model. I don't want to steal the thunder from the distinguished speaker for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome Mr. Naveen Valsakumar. He is a co-founder, CEO of Notion Press. We also have with us Mr. Balasubramanian, Director, Matrix Business. Bala doesn't need an introduction. He is very most popular. Come. Yes, let me have the privilege of introducing our distinguished speaker for this evening and also the chair. Naveen, as mentioned, is a co-founder and CEO of Notion Press. Naveen is a publishing platform launched in 2012 and has published over 10,000 authors' books and also distributed over 5 lakh titles globally, normal number. And an aircraft engineer by qualification, Naveen integrates technology with publishing and is also passionate about brewing homemade craft beer. I think one day you should have a glass of beer with you in the afternoon and understand how it is done. Known for his witty humor, high energy, he oversees business operations, marketing, sales, and Notion Press. And I spent few minutes in the boardroom with him. And some of the initiatives what he has done to retain his people and how to get the best out, the outstanding and mind-boggling. That you will hear from him how is he able to do that with the today's youngsters. And we also very warm welcome to you, Naveen. Thank you for accepting and coming and speaking to MMA member. And we also have Mr. P C Balasubramanian, Director Matrix Business Services. And he's a chartered accountant, an entrepreneur, an author, speaker, co-founder. Because I go miles to listen to Bala because when he talks about Rajinikanth leadership style and with his anecdotes, with his dialogues, I think those talks are really outstanding. If you've not seen, please watch it. Otherwise, they'll be in YouTube. You must watch it. And he is also advisor to the Lumiere Group, which acquired Matrix in 2019. An ardent cinephile and cricket enthusiast, he admires superstar Rajinikanth and has authored several bestsellers based on actors' dialogue. With 20 years of experience, he shares his expertise and leadership motivation and entrepreneurship through speeches and sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, once again a very warm round of distinguished panel for this evening. As much as you, I am eagerly looking forward to hearing you. Over to you.
Good evening. Thanks to MMA, thanks to Group Captain Vijay Kumar for inviting us. It's a very interesting session because we have a very interesting Naveen as our guest today, special guest today. I think I am requesting Naveen to run a brief presentation or talk about the story around Notion Press, and then I have some questions to ask. I mean, that is easier always. Only to respond it is very difficult. You can ask a lot of questions. So I will put across certain questions to Naveen, and here he is very spontaneous when it comes to responding. And later on, we'll also open to the audience. If you have certain questions, you can put across. Some difficult questions also to Naveen. Most welcome. So let him run through his brief presentation, please.
Sure. Thank you, Mimi and Group Captain Vijay Kumar sir for inviting me. And thank you, Bala sir, for playing the devil's advocate today. You've already warned me. Now you've also ganged up against me. Yeah, I look forward to answering a lot of questions because publishing is an industry where although we pride ourselves on dissemination of knowledge, we know how a movie is made, but we don't know how a book is made. It's sad state of affairs, but that's what we're trying to change. So I'll quickly run through what we call the Notion Press story. Our story started in 2012 with about a grand sum of 3,000 rupees. Till date, that is all we've invested into the company as personal funds. So we grew the company from a 3% team to right now about 200, 250 member team without any sort of external investments or the kind of ludicrous things that you read in the news today. So we started, the three of us, Bhargav, Jana and I, started Notion Press because Bhargav and I wanted to publish a book, and Jana was a publisher and also a friend for 14 years. So we thought that maybe Jana would publish our book. So contrary to what we thought, when we approached him, he said, "Who are you guys? Why would anybody want to publish you?" We were super shocked that our friend would give such a response. And then we started, as engineers, we have this thing where for everything that we don't know the answer to, we go to Google, right? So we started Googling around how publishing works and what are the nuances around publishing. So to tell our story, I think I need to take you way back in time to help you understand why publishing is the way it is. So publishing as an industry started with the invention of the movable type press around 1440. I'm not going to take a history lesson, I'll quickly run through this. So somewhere around 1400s, with the invention of the movable type, a lot of interest in spreading information through the printed text started. And with that started the commercialization of the printed text. So with any industry, a technology breakthrough is required for the industry to kickstart. I strongly believe that the movable type was that technology breakthrough that kick-started the publishing industry. The early years of publishing, there were a lot of experiments done. So you can imagine that people would print books and then go from city to city in carts, hoarding them, selling them to people who wanted to read. But as the industry went along over the next couple of years, it started getting more organized, and the new age of publishers was born somewhere around the 1930s with the invention of the paperback. So the paperback that we all fondly love, we fondly carry them with us, we read stories, we have childhood memories of. All of this started somewhere in the 1900s, which is when publishing as a business started becoming mainstream. And with as every business becomes mainstream, it gets consolidated. Large players emerge who start writing the rules of this industry. So this is how the publishing industry looked back then, and this is exactly how it looks today. Books were mass produced, sold through bookstores, and promoted through mass media. These three simple things were the rules through which the entire publishing model works. So if you walk into a large publisher today, let's say a Penguin, this is the model that they follow today, which has been around for hundreds of years. Now, with this model, there are some flaws. Over the years, what happened is a lot of publishers started looking at how do you minimize risk? See, I have to mass produce books, I have to put them in bookstores, and I have to promote. It's a lot of money that I as a publisher am investing in this. Right? So the obvious next course is, how do I then minimize risk? Over the years, this led to a lot of practices in the industry that started becoming anti-author. Basically, looking at celebrities and trying to get them to write a book. Right? So you can see all the books that you see on Amazon today, which is probably Kareena Kapoor's cookbook, Priyanka Chopra's fitness book. All of these are a result of the model that has been built over the years, which is extremely risk-averse to new authors. So as new authors, we ask the question, why is it this way? So if this is the chicken and egg situation, how do we deal with it? So a publisher, typically how it works is they will identify the content they want and they'll acquire the rights. You as an author would send in your submissions. You will say, hey, I have this great book. Do you want to publish it? But as a publisher, they've already gone and acquired Sachin Tendulkar. They've gone and acquired every single celebrity out there. So they've run out of budgets. What they also provide is the editorial expertise in the supply chain. So making sure that your book comes out well, making sure that it hits bookshelves, and in exchange for which writers get a royalty, which is usually about 7.5% to 10% of the cover price. So in a model like this, so in 2012, as we were thinking about how do we get our book published, we started reading a lot of online forums about how other authors who are similar to us were doing this. We read online about a movement called the indie publishing movement, which was brewing largely in the West, where authors were taking control of their own books. They were contracting different freelancers, different printers, and they were going and doing it themselves. We realized that this could be an opportunity. Organizing an industry, organizing more than an industry, a group of very passionate people who are going at something themselves could be a huge industry. So this created Publishing 2.0, which is the rise of platforms. Similar to us, I think a lot of other people had very similar ideas. Players like Amazon emerged, who started their own venture into helping authors publish. But all of us do the same rules. Somewhere along the line, it made logical sense to make sure that books are printed on demand, sold only through online commerce, and promoted through social media. So if you remember, pre-2012, the world that we lived in was a world full of bookstores. We used to see hoardings. We used to get our information from the newspaper. Now, when those started changing, it made a lot of sense for authors to embrace the new technologies. So when I say books are printed on demand, it means that we don't print anything unless there is an order. All of our books are available on, let's say, Amazon. And if an order comes, we print them within 45 minutes of the order. And we send it to the buyer the same day. All authors know that today, and one of the grouse that P C Balasubramanian would have is, you have to be active and build an audience on social. I mean, it's true for organizations, it's true for brands, it's true for authors, it's true for everybody who wants to be in the public sphere. It's true for presidents. There is no other way to get to reach people. But one of the best things about the world that we live in right now is it need not be a mass audience that we cater to. At an internet scale, we believe that even the smallest niche is a huge audience. Even if you're writing a book about a very obscure topic, you can find people on the internet who are as passionate about you, about the topic, and they would be in the hundreds of thousands. So in the self-publishing model, writers are free to produce and publish their content, and they own the intellectual property. It's more and more important to own your intellectual property because we live in a cross-media world. Your book today could become a web series tomorrow, could be transformed into a courseware. So all of these cross-media opportunities entail that you have to own the rights to your IP. As a writer, you hire your own experts or you work with a publishing platform like ours. And because you take the risk, you earn profits from the book sales. You're no longer earning a royalty out of every book sold. You are the author, you are the entrepreneur, so you earn the profits from the book sales. So what we have done essentially is flip the publishing model completely, where it used to be a hits business where publishers would go out and seek a hit. What we have done is we have built a massive haystack. Anybody can publish a book as long as it is legal, and we help authors find out which is the needle. So we offer two solutions. One is a premium publishing program, where experts will deliver the publishing services that you want, and the book will be available in about 150 countries. And interestingly, over the years, we've realized that in our dream of democratization, we were the bottleneck. The fact that we had to provide services by hand using experts was becoming a bottleneck. Somewhere after 5 to 6 years of being in business, we realized that we are not able to cater to the number of people who want to publish with us, purely because we had to put a fee on the services that we were offering. So we launched a technology platform called Do It Yourself Publishing, where a writer could design their book themselves and make it available for sale in 150 countries across most e-commerce channels, absolutely free of cost. And we would take a profit share. So currently we operate on both these models, where for serious writers who want to get started and work with experts, we offer the out-publish. And for authors who want to dabble, who want to publish a book and see how it goes, we offer the DIY platform. We offer a whole suite of services, ranging from content services, where we help ghostwrite books, we help edit them, publishing services where we help design the books, either through our tools or through our services, distribution services that are linked to our print-on-demand network. And we also provide marketing services, where we help authors promote their books. So far, we published about 110,000 books for authors in about 61 countries. We currently publish a new book every 30 minutes. Thank you. We have offices in India, Singapore, Malaysia, and UAE. These are Singapore, Malaysia, and UAE are newer markets that we have just entered this year. We run a community of writers of over 1 million writers who engage with us constantly. And we have, since this is MMA, we grow our revenue about 40-45% year on year. And most exciting for me is 82% of our revenue comes from book sales. It's not from the sale of services, which means my authors are making money. So if you see at the inflection point in the graph is when we launched the DIY platform, where we were growing organically, and once the platform launched, it started growing extremely well. So the future is, so far what we've done is to democratize publishing, and every year we have this image in our head where of a dial where we say, have we democratized enough? How much do we move it forward? So the future, as we envision, is true democratization only comes when an author can transact with their reader without a middleman, including us. So that is what we are building now. So we are building a democratic and decentralized world where an author can do business directly with their readers, can engage with them, can have a massive audience if they want, without the need for a middleman like ours. And we're solving that two different ways. One is we've identified that generative AI is going to be massive in publishing, primarily because Rajnikant also has fans in Japan. Your book should be in Japanese. And generative AI can do that instantly. Right? So you can do formats, you can do new languages, and all of the content that we have today in India can be available in other countries, other languages, in other formats. So we're no longer thinking of ourselves as a book publishing platform. We're going one step ahead and thinking of content publishing, in whichever format we help creators monetize them. The second area something that I'm very, very passionate about and something that we've been dabbling with for 2 years is to figure out a way in which we can decentralize the relationship between a publisher and an author. Today, no matter how much you say democracy, you still need an Amazon who will not give you the data. You will still need a Notion Press who will not be able to give you access to the data of your own readers. So true decentralization comes when, as an author, you are able to build your own community that belongs to you and does not belong to me or to a sales channel like Amazon, but truly, truly connected to you. And I think today there are tools on the internet that allow to do that, which is what we are building for the future. The past may have been built in Europe. It may have grown in the US, but I strongly believe that the future of publishing will be built in India, in Namma Chennai. Thank you, guys.
That was a wonderful presentation. I think it opens up, gives us a lot of immense knowledge about how publishing industry is changing its landscape. Thank you, Naveen. There is a very famous quote mentioned by, I think, Benjamin Franklin, which goes like this, either do something worth writing or write something worth, or do something worth writing. Do something worth reading or write something. When you listen to this quote, it brings out the importance of writing. I don't know how many of you read books here. I mean, let's be any book, English, Tamil, Hindi, whatever. Quite a good population of, and how many of you are writing? Need not be books, it could be blogs, it could one, two. I think with Naveen's presentation, I'm sure even for people who are watching it live, this population will increase because I'll tell you my own experience. I'm an accidental author. By the way, I have a lot of rights to talk to Naveen as a customer of Notion Press because apart from reading what he publishes, some of the books, I have also published 2 books through Notion Press. So this association will definitely continue, Naveen. For people who are writing books or attempting to write and get them published, when you approach a traditional publishing house, any traditional publisher, you will face lot of difficulties. I'm not putting them down. Their business model works like that. They prefer to publish books that are authored by celebrity authors, very popular authors, very successful authors, and so on. So there is every business reason for them not to risk their money or effort on an unknown author. So that is their business model. But what about a passionate author or upcoming author? He or she would want his or her book to get published. So thanks 2012, it's a homegrown brand. Give a big hand to Notion Press. It's not an easy industry, definitely not an easy industry. I don't know what made him to get into publishing. Today you have a platform, a company which will help you seamlessly to ensure that your book is out. They may not assure you readership, but at least the book is out for readers to pick up the book. And as he rightly mentioned, you become the ambassador for your book and you have to keep promoting your book. That's about, I'm sharing my own personal experience. So let me ask some questions to you, Naveen. You have been working in organizations. He's a aerospace engineer or aeronautic engineer. And I think his last employment was with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Bangalore. What made you to take a step? Don't tell me that you were given a pink slip. What made you to leave a good, stable, secured job and get into, I'm not talking about publishing, get into even entrepreneurship? What was the trigger?
So I'm one of those kids at school when you ask, what do you want to do in the future? I would always say entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship, I feel, I'm very, very passionate about, as you can see, about democratic platforms. And what I love and why I wanted to be an entrepreneur is because you keep reading these stories of people coming from extremely different backgrounds and then becoming an entrepreneur, right? So there is no there is zero qualification necessary. You can learn on the job. I don't think there is any other job that allows you to do that. You could start out somewhere. If you are passionate about what you're doing, I think entrepreneurship is your calling. And see, for me, the shift in mindset came, after I worked with HAL, I worked with a cybersecurity firm for about 5 years. There was a small point where my boss called me and said, here are 3 options. Back in those days, offsite was all the rage. Offsite or onsite? Onsite was all the rage, right? So my boss called me and said, here are 3 countries, which one would you like to go? I quietly went back to my desk and I sent in my resignation and said, I'm getting too comfortable for this. So the minute you get comfortable in a particular job, I think it's time to quit it, at least as a young person. So I started Notion Press at 25. So I think at 23, 24, if you get very comfortable with what you're doing, I think you need to quit it. You need a bigger challenge.
Thankfully, my employees are not listening to his conversation today. I don't want tomorrow 100 people stand in front of my door and submit their resignation. I mean, don't please, give such advice to many youngsters. Today, my personal belief, entrepreneurship is overhyped. No, that's my personal belief. See, I am personally not worked anywhere. Immediately after qualification, became a self-employed, and then I started a company. But I have a sense that today there is so much of hype on entrepreneurship. The message is like, if you are going for a regular employment, it is perceived to be something to be a crime. So I don't buy that idea. Not about you, in general about entrepreneurship. But 2012, if somebody had to resign and do it, wonderful. Today, it may not be a big, it's not new, nothing new. Every other day, we see people moving out at the age of 18, 20, and it's fashionable to become a school dropout and start a business and deliver fruits and vegetables at home and, build a business around.
This is still one of the toughest things I've ever done. If you ask me, will you go through the last 10 years again? I may probably say no.
Yeah.
See, entrepreneurship is romanticized in this country because obviously we're at the right place where we need more entrepreneurs right now, building more things. And it's justified to a point. What I feel is, I think where it gets really ugly is the valuation chase, not the business chase, right? When it gets into the valuation chase and gets into how much are you raising, who has put money, all of that. Other than that, I think it's as good as any job. I still wake up as early as anybody, come to the office and do my everyday, right? So,
what was the support from your family members, because you were in a job and then suddenly you put a break and then moved? What was the level of support you had?
No, for the longest of time, I think they thought I was unemployed.
Okay.
So, I think a couple of years into starting Notion Press, my mom asked me, what are you actually doing? So I'm born into I'm a 3rd generation entrepreneur. So, luckily,
Families are aware.
Parents understand that I want to pursue something.
And you got into self-publishing platform with a couple of your friends. What gave you that faith that in India, I want to know whether it is globally a very successful model, because what gave you the faith that an Indian author, or predominantly authors from India, you also deal with other authors, but when you started, authors from India would pay money and get their books published? What gave you that faith?
So, excuse me. So when we started, I don't think people start a business out of faith and out of doing a business model, out of any of that. We started out of foolishness of the youth. We were young, very stupid to know the term risk. We said we'll give it 6 months and see what happens. Our first goal was to find if there were authors in India who were like us. So we ran as what we did was we built a platform on top of Facebook and said, hey, here's a short story contest platform. Do you want to write short stories on our platform? And the best stories, we will publish them into a book. We thought maybe 50 people will write stories, or maybe 80 people. We got 1,200 people writing stories in a span of 30 days. And we had about 10 lakh people reading those stories. And we were shocked. I mean, I still am shocked by the size of our country. So when we started, we used to get about a new inquiry for publishing a book maybe once every few days, right? So once every 5-6 days, we'll have a new author who signs up on our website, and we'll get super excited. Everybody is like only thinking about that author. So I have traveled to people's homes trying to explain this model to them, right? Today we have about 10,000 people registering with us in India alone every month, right? That's like 100,000 people every year who want to publish their books with us.
It's fantastic, fantastic. And tell me how long you took to get the first set of 50 or 100 authors. Today you have 10 lakh perhaps authors globally, but the first 50, 100, how long it took and what you did specifically to get those 50, 100 paying authors? I'm always talking about paying authors. Free publication, forget it. Nobody can publish.
So, I sold the first 50 authors. I think I sold to the first 150 authors, right? So I was the spokesperson. I think there are mavericks, right? The first 50 customers, first 100 customers, they are betting on you. And so there was a news story about Notion Press and this unique model that we're trying out. And people started reaching out based on that. And as we delivered, one of the best things about the business is that every book that I publish will go and become an ambassador. So if PC is the author, he'll go promote it. He'll say published by Notion Press. It will go to a few hundred of his friends. They will get to know about it. And that sort of builds a viral loop into the business. When more and more people we publish, I think it took about 1 year to hit the first 50 books.
1 year.
1 year.
And sorry to ask this question. If you go to a traditional publisher, it goes through a lot of filtering process. The content of the book, how it is written, the theme, whether there is audience for it, readers for it. They do a lot of filtering process before they even accept. Of course, they come back to you only after 6 months to 1 year when you submit your proposal. You can't even follow up with a traditional publisher on the status of the proposal that you submitted. That's the way that industry works. I respect that. But so self-publishing, my sense is that any crap can get published. Because you are not filtering the process perhaps. So tomorrow I want to write something, I can simply become an author by giving anything and then getting it published through Notion Press or any self-publishing platform. How do you respond to this?
I say yes, bring it on. So, no, I'll tell you. We do not publish illegal stuff, right? So stuff that is illegal to publish. Now, the definition of crap may vary. So it could be an old person writing his story, so because he wants to document his legacy, his life, to an audience of 10 people in the family. Who are we to say no to that? Who's to judge that this story, this man's story is lesser important than the story of a prime minister?
Fantastic.
So we are not sitting here and judging that. Different people have different use cases. I have worked on a book personally where a guy said, tomorrow is my girlfriend's birthday. I want to document our love story and publish it as a book in 1 day. See, if
you have got the right market.
No, so we do have books that go on and sell 250,000 copies, 300,000 copies very easily. But at the same time, because we are democratic, because we allow all use cases, because of which we get very interesting stories, right? Trends that a traditional publisher would never notice. So if you look closely at traditional publishing, one of my problems is that the industry has become so formulaic, right? If there is a campus romance that becomes a hit, the only thing that's going to happen for the next 6 months is campus romance books. If there is a horror, it works very similar to the movie industry. If there is a horror movie, if there is a sports movie that becomes hit, now suddenly there is a craze about sports movies, and then it will die down, right? So if it is going to be this formulaic, then how do new authors break in? So this is the question that we are addressing. And interestingly, when we started, the validation came from the fact that 6 out of 10 writers who published with us, top 6 out of 10 writers in India at that point had started out by self-publishing their book. Chetan Bhagat, Amesh, all of these guys had started out. So the question was, if an editor is so good at identifying the next big thing, then how did these guys get missed out? Why did they have to go through an alternate process to be found?
Naveen, you have a lot of questions put across. I'm very glad that some of them have come up with beautiful questions. But before I go into this, 2 questions from my end. Sure. Today we have a lot of other distractions. Okay, in the last 15, 20 years, you have YouTube, you have WhatsApp, you have Instagram, you have Reels, you have Facebook, you have WhatsApp, several groups. So and OTT, Amazon, Netflix, Hotstar, many. So what is your sincere view on this? Because everybody is distracted, includes me. I'm not an exception. You get into an Insta reel, then you start seeing so many other people's life, you forget about your own life. So where is the time for people to pick up a book and read? Is readership coming down, or is intact or growing?
So in a country like India, where literacy rate is on the rise, readership is going up. The industry is growing at a 19% CAGR. Because of the population and because of the number of people who are coming into primary education, secondary education, and becoming very literate. So, but the kind of content is changing from reading for leisure to reading for a purpose. See, we have asked this question many times. What does this book do? What does this format do? If all the information out there, all the stories out there are available on the internet, then what does this book format do? Right? Basically, it organizes it. It organizes it and presents it from an expert perspective. And that is why people buy textbooks. That is why people buy non-fiction books. So I feel as we mature as a country, especially in Indian languages, I'm very, very excited about the possibility of this amazing reader base coming in and wanting non-fiction content in their language.
Okay.
So that is where the growth in publishing is going to be, which is why AI is going to kill it, going to take your ideas and make it available to Hindi-speaking people, to Gujarati people, right? So, see, your idea does not have a language. Your presentation has a language. Now, if your idea can be spread across so many people, I think that is going to be a killer use case.
Very nice. So, let's move on to some of the questions. What role does social media, this is from Agustina Erode, okay? What role does social media play in your overall business strategy, and how has it impacted your growth?
So, we have very clear view of social media, right? So, we play on Instagram and on LinkedIn with 2 different purposes. On LinkedIn, what we're trying to do is to demystify publishing, build more awareness. But on Instagram, our goal is very different. Make publishing fun, bring the next set of writers. So if you follow us on Instagram, you will find that the content is extremely geared towards the 14 to 25, 30-year-old. So, which is why over the years we have found that we've been able to reduce the average age of writers. And that's something that's important for a business like ours because it increases our longevity.
Correct. What marketing and promotional strategies proved most effective in building the Notion Press brand? This is from Jamuna Namakkal.
Sure. So, see, when we think about marketing, we think about a lot of very complicated words, right? So, what we did was very simple. We said, hey, this is an industry that nobody knows about. Can we then give a phone number and say, we are there for you? We just flashed a phone number and said, whatever questions you have about publishing, you call us. And by far, that is one of our best decisions that we've ever made. Forget performance marketing, forget Google ads, forget all the stuff that we do on Facebook, Instagram, all of that. The fact that we are there, available to our customers, to authors who want to publish books, whether they want to publish with us or not, the fact that somebody can pick up a phone and say, hey, I'm writing this, how do I move forward? I think that is the killer strategy that helped us grow.
Good. How do you handle competition from other similar self-publishing platforms and traditional publishers? Shanmugapriya, Pondicherry. Vijay.
So, I used to be a guy very obsessed with competition and looking at everything that the competition does. Can we do it better? But over the years, we feel, I don't think it's that important to focus on competition. We don't really even talk about it anymore. What we do is keep our feet close to the... So if you ask me about competition, I would say, I want to know what my authors want even before the competition does. What Indian authors want, I want to know that even before any of my competitors does. And the only way to do that is to be very, very close to all of my authors, to be grounded, to keep my ears close to the ground. That is the only way we think about competition.
Nice. It's a very good question. How do you approach talent acquisition and team building at Notion Press? Juvan Salem.
So this is one of the most difficult challenges right now. See, I'm 37 years old, right? And I'm not in the average age of a business leader. Usually, you will say 45 to 50, right? Even at 37, I feel so disconnected from the current team that we work with. So, as far as talent acquisition is concerned, I think I let the younger people in the team do their job really well because they know what people want. I focus on talent nurturing, right? So from the minute you enter Notion Press, you have life goals. You don't have work goals, you have life goals. In 6 months, this is how I want to be, not at work. Even if I move out, wherever I go, this is how I want to be. In a year, this is how I want to be. So I think having that very honest conversation with people and bridging that aspiration is what has helped us retain people. And very interesting throwback to what Sir said about bringing more women into the workforce. We have about 65% of people who work in Notion Press are women. So we have a very unusual ratio.
In what ways did your background, very interesting question, as an aircraft engineer, contribute to your approach to running Notion Press? Is it always safe landing or turbulence? With turbulence. Susan Chennai. He's perhaps a budding author in my opinion.
I think Susan's trick question. So, see, I'm a risk junkie. Which is why I don't deal with aircrafts anymore. I'm super into risk. So there are times when my team feels that I'm too stupid to understand risk. There are times when I pull the company in a direction where the existence is questioned. So it is never safe landing. It's always turbulence. And the reason why it is also like that is because I feel only in turbulent weather a good pilot is born.
Fantastic. What personal habits, okay, or routines have contributed to your success as an entrepreneur? Any advice to budding entrepreneurs? Mari Selvan, Coimbatore.
So I'm extremely regimental. So that's one of the habits that I feel has helped me. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning every single day for the past 12 years, right? And I have my routine down to the last bit. So I know exactly, I have lunch on my calendar. So one of the things is if you have to thrive in chaos, and entrepreneurship is chaos. If you have to thrive in chaos, I think you need to be organized.
Lovely. What role did customer feedback play in shaping the services and features of Notion Press? How successful are you in customer retention on repeat customers? Vishal Chennai. That's a good question because I'll also add something to this. If you have data, what is the percentage of authors out of 10 lakhs? And 10 lakhs is a huge number, but realistic data, how many of them have been repeat customers in terms of being, approaching you to write their books? They don't stop with one book, at least second, third, and so on.
So I'll answer this both ways,
Yeah.
right? So one is, we do screw up. We do screw up a lot. That's the honest fact. If you're building something, obviously there will be people who are extremely pissed off at something not working. The other side is, this is one of those businesses where you enter in a relationship with an individual customer, but across 18 touch points, and I think across many years. So my first author who published with us is still a published author with Notion Press. His book still sells with us. So what happens is, there could be, today he could be extremely happy. Tomorrow, if a book goes out with a small flaw, then it's sort of like it goes back, right? So we treat this, we've understood that very early on. We treat this like a relationship, like any marriage. There will be ups, downs. As long as we're able to have an honest conversation about it, it works. To answer your question about repeat authors, the average number of books published today is about 2.1 books per author.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. How do you ensure continuous innovation within Notion Press to stay ahead in the industry? Varalakshmi from Chengalpet.
I think that is the only thing you should not be worried about, because we have a crazy team that is working on crazy ideas all the time. So for example, whether it's in content. So in content, we wanted to build a universe out of Ponniyin Selvan. So we built Aditya Karigalan, Kolai Vazhakku, that angle, right? So people who know the series will understand. So there is a lot of content innovation happening. There is a lot of technology innovation also happening at the same time. So from a tech perspective, what we are trying to achieve, the true decentralization, is the antithesis of every tech company out there. Every tech company gains its power from centralizing and making sure that they control the relationship, right? So from an innovation perspective, I feel it's part of the DNA to innovate, to break our own business model. We've already done it twice. We've built a business model, built a model that's opposite of the business model that we built, so that more people can be served.
How do you see the role of digital media? More or less similar question. Evolving in the public industry, and how is Notion Press adapting to these changes? Nivedita Pondicherry. A lot of questions from Pondicherry.
I need to ask my team to run ads. So, see, there is media and there are different formats. Digital is just one more format. Audio is one more format. When a writer sits down to write, they still write. And then even for a movie that's visual, it is still written, right? That is the medium of expression as of now. I still have my social media team that makes reels like this, sit down and sweat over the script for 2 hours, right? So we don't distinguish between digital media, print media, all of that. We look at quality content, quality presentation. Print is a format, digital is a different format.
How important was building a strong company culture? You have, I'm sure, in your journey, and what steps did you take to cultivate it from Tavamani, Coimbatore?
So I have gone from being a micromanager to please don't bother me, bro. So, see, I think from a very, very early days, I'm lucky to have people around me who cared enough about the company and what we were building. And I don't think culture is something that is usually built from the outside, where you plan and you say, okay, this is going to be my culture. Culture is how you behave with each other. And I don't think it should be any different from how we are at home or how we are in other setting, where it needs to be. I mean, nobody tells us that this is how you behave. If you see elders, you get up. These are all things that are not imparted to us every single time through a training or something. No, we see somebody do it, we do it.
Can you describe a major challenge you faced in the early stages of Notion Press by you and your partners, and how you overcame it? Tamil Selvan, Bangalore.
See, I don't think we faced major challenges in the early days. I think our first biggest challenge was, see, in a market like India, which is usually trust deficit, we were lucky enough to have a lot of trust. People trusted us with their books, people who trusted us with their money, and they would spend years writing the book, right? And we were a non-entity. So we got all of that. I think the first important juncture where we were completely lost was during COVID, where we had built a business out of print, a massive business. We were pumping out thousands of copies per day, and suddenly for the next 8 months, nothing happens. So that is where we had to really think about what is the future, how do we, and it was a sort of like an uncertain period where you never knew what is going to come back, what behavior is going to set in, what behavior is not going to be there. Is print even going to work after this? I mean, people were saying that schools won't work after this, after all the online schooling, right? And they raised billions of dollars around it. So that was sort of an uncertain period, but luckily we had people, I mean, authors who have super conviction in our model. We kept talking to them and they said, no, it will be back. We will keep publishing. So just during COVID, we published about 20,000 books without being able to sell a single copy. That was the level of commitment that authors had and the desire to express themselves. And also a lot of people got a lot of free time.
Fantastic. I mean, just to add to that, during this tough time when he was not getting authors to write books in large numbers, I published my book through Notion Press.
Thank you, sir.
What role did mentorship and networking play in your entrepreneurial journey? Kavita, Chennai.
So I think I've learned a lot from people I call mentors. Every time I have a conversation with PC sir, he tells me a lot of things. He's extremely curious about the business and always asks the right questions. So that, I think for an entrepreneur, the best thing you can do is ask the tough questions. And tough questions will provoke thought. That is what every single mentor of mine, that is what they do. They don't give me the answers. They ask the tough questions. They ask questions like, tomorrow, if X event were to happen, what would you do? Right? That provokes thought, that thought provokes action. And I think that is how we get better. We need more people asking tough questions. About networking, I'm not a huge fan of networking, so I don't know how to answer that.
I realize that. Anyway, so this is a fantastic question, and Captain, I want to send one of my books to this person. I'll take the address and send it across later. How do you balance work-life responsibilities? That's a very simple question. As a CEO of a growing company, are you writing a book? Okay. And the next punchline, if so, who will be your publisher? This is from Kamaleshwaran, Sri City. Brilliant question.
So to be very honest, I've been approached by a publisher to publish the Notion Press story. I said, are you stupid? How would that make me look? Right? So we are publishing, I'm writing a book. It's called The Notion Press Way. We're publishing it very soon. And of course, it will be a national bestseller.
Fantastic. Now, before when is it getting released?
December.
December. Okay. Before we wind up with two more questions to you. Are you promoting readership? You have the responsibility also to do that. You are in that industry. I'm always concerned that I don't see people with books at the airports, railway stations, and so on. Earlier it used to be. I'm not blaming them, but I don't get to see. So school children, college students, how are you promoting readership? It will benefit you also. Are you taking conscious, structured effort to do that?
Yes and no. So we work with a lot of bookstore partners to promote readership among young people. But again, with any industry, the challenge is that everybody has got their own agenda, right? So I think we could be doing a lot more to promote readership in the country. I don't think we do enough.
I really wish, please take this as my sincere personal professional suggestion. Sure. It will do a lot of good to the...
But I think our authors do that, right?
Authors do that, but authors do with a motive of selling their own books. Like when you do it, the whole industry gets benefited. Plus, a publisher can inculcate the readership far better than a single author, because collectively authors don't come together and do it. And hence this request.
Yeah, I think this is well taken.
Now, this is from Group Captain. He is asked a question. How do you ensure good quality of books? More or less, he asked this. Since writing is democratized and you encourage everyone to publish, how do you ensure good quality? Is there a way to do this?
Yeah, so there are a couple of ways to do this, right? So one is you have an amazing idea, but you're not a good writer. Today, generative AI can solve that, which is why we are on the verge of incorporating that into our platform. Second is, we don't think about how do you ensure good quality, how do you reward good quality? So we are launching a author development program possibly by next month, where we're rewarding writers with phenomenal quality, phenomenal marketing abilities, all of this that we see that will help somebody turn an entrepreneur. So we are launching a program that will help them get rewarded for doing the right things. I think it requires a behavior shift. See, you have a platform like Facebook, for example, or Instagram. You could use that to give quality content. You could use that to give entertaining content. You could use that as your personal blog. That is up to you. That is the democratic nature of the platform. But as quality gets rewarded, more people will want to pursue that. So that is our take on it.
Good. And see, what is a bestseller in India? Because I Googled at least 100 times to find out. Best-selling books. What is a quantum? Because everybody cannot be Chetan Bhagat, everybody cannot be Amish Tripathi. So I read somewhere, or even a publishing house told me that if you manage to sell 5,000 copies, you are a best-selling author. In the context of Indian readership, in India, within India, if you're selling 5,000 copies in India, it's supposed to be a bestseller.
Yeah, so see, bestsellers are category wise. It's not overall, and I think the whole concept of bestseller is very very flawed. But to answer your question, so let's say a category like poetry, which doesn't seem to sell really well, something like 5,000 could be construed as a bestseller. So you have to think of bestseller against all the other books that were published this year. Right. So let's say something like fiction, where organically a lot of people can read. It could be at about 10,000, 12,000. But a true national best-selling book will crack 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah.
Wow. So a final question from me. What next at Notion Press? Any product, new product innovation related, aligned to publishing? What next? If you can reveal.
Yeah. So we're usually very pally with everybody. So like I said, what we're trying to build is one of the things that keeps nagging me is, so how many books have you written?
Myself, I have written 7 books.
7 books. Why don't you have your own reader base? And that bothers me a lot, right? Over these 7 books and all the copies that you've sold and all the promotions that you've done, why is there no way for people to be associated with you, connected with you? Why should the 8th book be as difficult as the first book? Right? So that is the problem that I am very passionate about. My co-founder Bhargav is very passionate about democratizing writing further. So like I said, you could have a great idea, but you don't have writing skills, and he wants to solve that. So these are 2 areas that we are working on to make sure that there are more writers and our writers have more readers that they are connected to.
Fantastic. So great opportunity for all of you who are listening, watching. If you want to write a book, yesterday was the best day. Since you are a little late, tomorrow is the best day. Sign up with I'm not being paid by Notion Press to say that. Sign up with Notion Press, you become an author. And I need to add one more thing. As an author, my experience, when you write a book, it's not about the money that you make out of books. The kind of connects you get when you write books is phenomenal. And only when you experience it, you will know how valuable it is to, experiment writing, structured writing. Thank you so much, Naveen.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. A lot of management lessons, which I'm quite sure a lot of people have taken. Thank you, online viewers. We have over 640 viewers watching this program live from different channels and different things. And great value. If you are sitting on the fence to write a book, MMA, we have started writing a book as co-editor and published it, and we are going to do it almost every second month. A book, we got almost some 800 articles lined up. So you have to only catch them and put it through. And we are going to take his help because he's the one who published. Let me have the privilege of, along with my co-editor, present the book published by him to him only. So it's a MMA publication. Vishwanath can join. I also request other company members who are here, Ramesh Babu and on stage. Come. Come. We have come. Come. Before we published from yes. So, good stories.
This is also from Notion Press.
Thank you. Yeah, this is from Notion Press, published by you and come close. Volume 1, no? So we got series of lots of stories, including yours will come soon. But I won't.
After he writes his book.
Yes, I brought a pen.